So what we're going to do here is we're going to create 6 chains. And then once you create the 6th chain, you're going to slip stitch into the first chain to create a circle. And then what we're going to do is be creating clusters, filling that circle up into the start of the pattern. So here you're going to want to move the tail out of the way and that loose hair. Yarn over, insert hook into loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert into the hoop, pull up, yarn over, and we're going to do that 3 times. On the last one, yarn over, pull through all the loops. It really helps to kind of angle the work down and the hook on a diagonal upwards to really get the leverage to get the hook through all the loops. And then after you're done with the first cluster, you're going to chain 3. So again, you're going to yarn through all of them. We're going to chain 3. We're going to create 7 clusters into that circle. Now the original instructions from Yarnspirations wanted you to start with a chain of 3 first. And I actually don't like making the chains because they're too noticeable in the finished product. I can then see where I've started and ended my work, and I just think it looks messy. So I just jumped right in into making the clusters. It does get a bit squishy as you're trying to fill in 7. And I also think that the recipe, as I call it, wanted a beginning cluster done first and then create 7 chains in the circle. So I did try it with 8 clusters, but I found that the pattern looked a little spread out. I liked it a little bit tighter with just doing the 7 clusters in this first get-go. I'm using the Karen baby cakes and a size 6 hook on this one. Now at the end of this, you're going to do your last chain 3. And then you're going to connect it together to the top of the first cluster before the chain 3. So you can see there, I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to put the hook in and we're going to do a slip stitch. No yarn over, just pull through and then pull through. Now one thing I did like in the pattern is that now we're going to do a slip stitch into the space of the chain 3. And then you're going to jump right in again, making more clusters. So this time we're going to make this same cluster of 3. Pull through, do a chain of 3, and go right back in and do another cluster in that same chain. And then when we pull through, we're only going to chain 1 at the end to finish that. So now you've got 2 clusters in that one space cluster. So you're going to continue on around into each of those spaces. You can, of course, fast forward if you want, because I do crochet a little bit slow. I'm a stickler with trying to keep my tension the same. And I move a little slower as a result. I find when I crochet fast, I tend to have looser tension. I also find too when I'm watching a show and crocheting, if it's a scary show or something, or dramatic, I tend to crochet tighter. So this pattern was the patchwork scarf that Yarn Inspirations had up on their site. I kind of think that this motif could be used in a multitude of different applications. It doesn't have to be put into a scarf. I'm actually going to be putting mine into a baby blanket. And actually, this pattern works really good for the Karen cakes because in order to you can make a couple of stars in one color before it automatically goes to the next color. So there's very little waste. And there's actually 4 color hexagon stars or whatever these are after you're done. So it's nice. It's a clean put together. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a gray to join all these together to create a baby blanket. I'm just not sure how I'm going to do that yet. The idea behind putting these videos up is more for myself because I tend to lose my pattern printed papers after a while and I run out of hard drive space saving all the pictures and stuff. So this was more just in case I'm away anywhere and I don't have it. I can always come to YouTube if I forget how to do the pattern and watch my videos to get a refresher. I also find sometimes reading patterns to be a bit tricky. It's kind of like math or something. So this way I learn visually, and if it helps somebody else, muffle through the pattern, why not, right? But yeah, in the pattern, they originally wanted a beginning cluster, and I don't like the idea of the beginning cluster. And I don't like chaining up my rows before I start into the pattern again. But I do think that doing that slip stitch, combining everything together, and then makes a cleaner start for the next. I tried doing the second row without slip stitching into the first 3 chain space, and it actually didn't come out looking as well put together. So then by the time you're done this, I'm not sure exactly how many clusters you end up with. But again, once you reach the end, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the beginning cluster before the chain 3 starts. And that's going to close up this round. Then you're going to slip stitch into the start of the next round by slip stitching into that chain space that's right there where my finger is. But we're going to be doing something different on the 3rd round. So again, right there into the top, I'm going to just put a slip stitch in. That way it closes the round. And then when we put a slip stitch into, oh, I don't know why I was doing that. There we go. Oh, I'm all confused. There we go. There's my slip stitch. So now we're going to do double crochets. So yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. We're going to do that 3 times. And we're going to do that in round 3 of all the chain spaces. So once we get our 3rd one in, then we're going to chain 3. And we're doing this in between the cluster cheeks that we did on round 2. So chain 3, and now we're going to go back in and do another 3 double crochet in that chain space that's between those cheeks. And then once we're done the 3 double crochets, we're just going to do a chain 1 to close the row. There she is. Now we're going to go into the next. See how it makes a nice little semi-triangle thing there, cluster. Yep. And then we're going to go into the next chain 3 space in between those little cheeks there. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. So 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets, chain 1. And that's it. That's the end of the 3rd round. And then I just cut it, pull the loop through to tie that little knot, and keep plugging away at making more of them. It's a really cute motif though. I mean, you could do this in pillows, you could do this in scarves, you could do this in blankets. I really like the idea of I really like the idea of doing motifs, because a lot of places I go, I can't take like, big chunks of yarn with me, right? But I can take one piece of yarn and make a whole bunch of little motifs, right? So sitting in the lunchroom, or sitting in the park, it's very small overhead you take with you, and it gives you more mobility to take your crocheting with you, right? Yeah, so I really like the idea of doing motifs. So I'm going to try to learn some more motifs, and I'll put them up here. That way I've got a library for myself. And hey, you know what? If it helps you, or if you have any questions at all, just let me know. Just ask away. And I hope it, helps, because sometimes I find the patterns are difficult to read. And they can get confusing. It's like math, right? You got to do what's inside the brackets first, right? And you got to watch your commas, and then you got to watch, what comes after. And also, I always think patterns can be not necessarily improved on, but a different take of them. Yeah, so that's it. We'll just pop some popcorn and watch the rest of this, or you could skip out of here. Anyways, catch you later. Sorry, one more thing I wanted to add is that I didn't really explain how to finish and join the round 3. So what you want to do is, when you get to the end of your chain 1 on the last round, you want to then put a slip stitch into the first of the double crochet in that top stitch there, and then do a slip stitch right in that, and then close it off. So if you're interested, just fast forward to the last part of this video where I show the last slip stitch in closing this round.